plenty of time now. I'm sorry the camera's not pointed in a good direction, and things aren't perfect with the camera, but man, the mount sucks. I need to replace the mount, and I don't want to buy one at a truck stop because they're way overpriced. So I'm not going to upload the video that I made earlier. Now hiring CDL drivers, teams, owner-operators. That's the second or third sign I've seen alongside the road here on I-5, basically begging for drivers. The last one said they train, they'll get you your CDL, they'll I don't know what all they're offering, but they're desperate for drivers over in California. I don't think truck driving it's probably not a very good job in California. I think truck driving is probably a decent career in very low cost of living areas, because you can make like $40,000, $50,000 a year as a truck driver. That's what a lot of people make as truck drivers. It's like 40, 50. Some people make less, some people make more. But the vast majority of people make 40, 50,000, especially people in their first year or two. After you get a couple of years of experience, yeah, you should be able to make a lot more money. I've heard some stupid stuff. Like, I've heard people, they're like, yeah, I've been working for such and such mega carrier for 25 years, and I'm on a really nice dedicated route, and I make $55,000 a year. And I'm like, God, why? You have 25 years with a company, and you're making $55,000 a year in this industry? That is terrible. Their first year drivers can make a lot more than that. Can. Most don't. Most first year drivers make like $40,000 to $50,000. I think the average salary in the trucking industry is something like $56,000 a year. Last time I heard a statistic on it. But why in the hell were we talking about how much you can make? Oh, with the signs we were driving past. So what happened? So this trip is it's 900 miles plus 130 deadhead. I was in Portland, I had to get to Springfield, and whenever I picked up the load, Tuesday is when I grabbed the load, and the load was scheduled to pick up at like 9 a.m. Wednesday. So I had enough time that I could have driven an hour and a half down to Springfield, Oregon, and took a 10-hour break, and then had all of my hours available to me whenever I started the next day. And I thought about that. But I decided to just stay at the TA in Troutdale and start the whole trip from there Wednesday morning. Why did I do that? I did that because of fuel prices. I was going to have to set for almost 24 hours. And this thing burns almost a gallon an hour. It's like, it burns between like 0.7 and 0.9 gallons per hour is what I see whenever I'm sitting here looking at the fuel burn rate when I'm idling. It burns a lot of fucking fuel. I need to get my APU fixed because I just tear through the fuel idling this thing. And so I was going to have to set for like 24 hours. So that's like 15, 20 gallons of fuel. And you're talking about like $1 a gallon price difference between getting fuel in Troutdale and somebody else. So, it cost me, 20 or 30 bucks to, drive down there and idle for an extra night. That's $20 or $30 of fuel that I may have to purchase down in the LA area, which might cost me even more than $1 per gallon. So I wanted to have as much fuel as possible when I started this trip, so I stayed in Troutdale and started the trip from there. And I topped off in the morning right before I left. ridiculously easy delivery appointment, kind of difficult. I'm pushing my hours of service limits on this because of the low speed limits in California and Oregon, and also how heavy this load is and the number of mountains that I drove through. Almost all of yesterday, my first driving shift, almost that entire drive shift was driving through mountains. And a lot of those mountains were such steep grades, I was going like 25 miles per hour. So I don't know what my miles per hour average was yesterday. I would guess I would be lucky if I had a 45 mile per hour average, because I had my cruise set at 56 in California. I had it set at 60 or 61 in Oregon. Schneider up here on the side of the road. And traffic, okay, well, let's talk about two things, two different subjects. Traffic in California and driving in California. How is driving different in California and trucking right now? Okay, so traffic is really light. Now, I haven't driven in California in like 15 years in a truck. Well, in any vehicle, really. Because I haven't driven a personal vehicle in California ever, I don't think. I don't think I've ever driven a personal vehicle in California. Because when I lived in California as a kid, I was too young to drive. So I don't really know what normal traffic is like in California these days, but 15 years ago, traffic pretty damn crazy in California. I just drove through Sacramento, and traffic got a little thick driving through Sacramento on I-5, but not bad at all. Not bad at all. Real easy drive-through. Traffic was congested on the interstate all the way until Latham. And just south of Latham, there was like a 205 that split off to go to San Francisco. And a lot of vehicles took that exit. And it's been like this since just south of Latham. I just started the video shortly after that exit when traffic cleared up. That's like within 5 miles of that's when I started this video. Like when traffic just like went wide open the way it is now. And now we're pretty much just going to be driving through the farmland of California for the next few hours until we get down to the LA area. And it should pretty much be like this for the next few hours. There's a bunch of major cities in Northern California, and then you have LA and San Diego in Southern California, and it's pretty much farmland in between all that. This should be our commute all the way down to there. So Google is saying that I should be getting to LA around 1 p.m. It's probably going to be closer to 3 p.m. No, that's what Google is saying, that I'm going to arrive at my destination, I think. So I might start actually hitting LA, the LA area by 1 p.m. But yeah, this is wide open road. I've got cruise set at 60. So let's talk about like driving a truck in California. How is it different right now versus 15 years ago when I drove here? Okay, 15 years ago when I drove in California, you didn't go much faster than 55. The trucks traveled at between 55 and 58 miles per hour. If you were going over 58 miles an hour in California in a truck, then people will be talking about you on the CB. And what the fuck is all that smoke up there? It's probably a dirt road. Somebody's driving down a damn dirt road next to the interstate. Yeah, Like, that's where he came over is like the bare minimum for safe merge distance, in my opinion. Any closer than that, it kind of pisses me off. But I'm okay with the distance that this person merged at. I'm gonna lane position to the far left side of my lane because I thought I saw something up here, like somebody standing on the shoulder. It might be this call box that I was seeing. But yeah, right there, that dump truck. There's a dump truck driving through the median. That's where all that dust was coming up from. Alright, we're good. So how is it driving? As you can see, I have my cruise set at 60, and that guy flew by me. He's going probably close to 65. That would be absolutely unheard of 15 years ago for a truck to be going 65 in California. For a truck to be driving in the left lane, like that guy's doing, looks like he probably knows where the right lane is. That's the reason he didn't bother moving over. He probably drives this route all the time. I mean, that kind of stuff would be unheard of. Even for the short distance that guy was in the left lane, like he knew the right lane was ending, that would be pretty much unheard of. Okay, we have square blocks. That means that this is an exiting lane. For anybody who doesn't know any better. Whenever you see the short square blocks on a lane, that means like it's an exit only or an ending lane. It's not a continuing lane. Right there it is, exit only. I thought I had my mic up for a second, but we're good. Got this big truck passing me on the left. Like, everybody's passing me. I'm going 60 to 55, everybody's passing me. Everybody pretty much drives in California the way they drive in other states. They're, 5 to 10 miles an hour over the speed limit, no fucks given. That seems to be the norm over here in California. And that was unheard of 15 years ago. California was hyper strict on enforcement. You fucking idiot! Stupid jackass! I got somebody fucking merging on the right, and this dumb shit, I had to hit my fucking brakes. He came in so damn close. Fucking idiot. Give me a second here. I'm still like having to tap my brakes. We got a hill coming up, and I'm 80,000, so you'll be able to pull away on this fucking hill. Oh, it pisses me off. What a jackass. We had a ton of trucks from that rest area parked on the fucking shoulder. We had a car merging on, and this dumb shit cuts me off in the middle of all of that. What a fucking idiot. Going like 70 miles an hour. Like, that kind of stuff in California 15 years ago was absolutely like unheard of. It doesn't seem like the highway patrol is enforcing the 55 mile per hour truck speed limit anymore, and they're not enforcing the right lane only restriction on trucks anymore. I haven't even really seen any signs saying trucks right lane only. Except for like your normal areas where you have trucks right lane only, like way stations and shit like that. Like California 15 years ago, there would just be a line of trucks in the right hand lane, bumper to bumper, like 5 feet off each other's ass. Because if you got out in the left to try to pass somebody, highway patrol would pull you over. So whatever speed that lane was moving at is what everyone moved at, and it was typically between 55 and 58 miles an hour. California fucking sucked back then. But now, and trucks are going like 70 miles an hour out here. That was absolutely unheard of in California 15 years ago. Like, if you were going 5 miles an hour, 60 miles an hour in California 15 years ago, man, you would, like, people would be talking about you on the CB and shit. Just, if you were slow passing people, you were going 60 and everybody in the right lane was going 58 and you were passing them, like, people would be talking about you on the CB, and people would drive so close together that if you got out to pass somebody, you'd have to pass like 10 trucks or something before you could get back over, because they would just be riding bumper to bumper. There would be no room in between them to move back over. You couldn't leapfrog trucks. I'm not saying that you couldn't ever leapfrog trucks, but they intentionally drove close together most of the time to keep people from leapfrogging. So it's very different these days. I'm not willing to drive 65. I'm not that comfortable with it. If they're not going to fucking enforce the 55 mile per hour speed limit anymore in California, then why the hell do they still have it? They need to just get rid of that stupid shit. Because what it does is it just creates tremendous disparity in speeds between vehicles. So right now you have like 3 speeds going on in California. You have the cars doing 100. You have some of the trucks doing like 65, 70, and you have some of the trucks doing 55. So the speeds are just all over the damn place in California. I'm going 60, and that guy's passing me at least 5 miles per hour over what I'm doing. Closer to 10. He's probably doing 67, 68 in a 55. If California is okay with trucks going, the car speed limit, then, change the damn speed limits. I'm not going to risk getting a 15 over ticket in this damn state. Like, that's a career ender. I would lose my job and have difficulty finding another job for like 3 years. I might have to go find another fucking profession. So, yeah. Fucking hate California. It's such a beautiful state. Awesome, climate. But, man, it's just run by a bunch of dumb shits. Get up. Okay, so let's talk real quick about my lazy ass. So, by my standards that I hold myself to, I overslept today and I'm a lazy piece of shit for doing it. By other people's standards, not so much. Other people have pretty low fucking standards, which is why I tend to distance myself from other people. So I set my alarm for 5 a.m. My 10 hours was up at 5:15 a.m. So I wanted to get up with enough time to get dressed, get my affairs in order, check the load board before clocking on duty to do my pre-trip. And when the alarm went off, I sat there and laid in bed and debated with myself on whether or not to go back to sleep for like 4 or 5 more hours. Because I made the mistake last night of staying up and watching some YouTube and some Netflix. Really just a bunch of shit that was not entertaining at all. But I didn't feel like going to sleep. So I just sat there kind of browsing through shit for a couple hours. And when I went to sleep, I only had like 7 hours until I needed to get up. So I only got like 6.5, 7 hours of sleep instead of going to bed, with plenty of time to get, at least 8 hours of sleep. And because of that, I had difficulty getting up this morning. And I seriously debated going back to sleep for 4 or 5 more hours, because I only have 2 drive shifts to get this load there, but I have like an extra 8 hours. So, like, I could oversleep by 4 or 5 hours and still make this delivery on time. I just don't have an extra drive shift. I don't have enough extra time to take a 10 and then drive on top of that. So I set the alarm for 5:15 and laid there thinking about it. The alarm went off at 5:15, and I sit there debating on it for 30 seconds or so, and I said, you know what? Once I get up and get dressed, it's not gonna be a problem. And if I try to go back to sleep, I'm not gonna be able to go to sleep because I'm gonna be stressing about being late. So I just threw my clothes on, hopped out of bed, started my pre-trip, and basically I started my day 1 minute late. I had 10 hours and 1 minute on my rest break whenever I started my pre-trip. So I did my pre-trip and got all my, put all my stuff away, secured everything, my microwave, my fridge. Gotta put everything away and secure it all before I drive, because I don't want that shit flying around in the truck while I'm driving. And did my pre-trip and all that stuff, and then got rolling. I didn't have enough time to check the load board this morning, which isn't that big of a deal, because at 5 a.m., that's what, like 7 a.m. Central Time Zone? They really don't start putting new stuff on the load board until after 8 a.m. Central Time. So I was a little early for that. And this is a pretty decent little hill. And I didn't drop below 60 miles an hour on that hill. I just pulled that hill at 60. And that really puts it into perspective how big those damn mountains were that I drove through, that I was going 25 miles per hour up. That was some steep shit. So, hang on. I've been up for about 2.5 hours. It's 7:53 a.m. and I got up at 5:15. I should be at my destination this afternoon, somewhere around 3-ish o'clock. I think I mentioned that already. And I'm going to drive straight to the distribution center, the delivery point, and see if they'll unload me. If I was delivering directly to a store, like a grocery store, I probably would not try to get unloaded early, because the way that the stores operate is their delivery appointments are usually set up around busy times and slow times and work shifts, all kinds of shit like that. So they're usually, like, you're delivering directly to a store, then they're probably not going to unload you outside of, close to your delivery window, especially if it's in the middle of the damn night, because that's probably when their stockers are available, things like that. But a distribution center should be able to unload 24 hours a day. So I'm just going to check in with them and see if they can get me unloaded early. If they can, then awesome. That means that I can go and do my full rest period and not have to worry about waking up in the middle of the night to go do the delivery. And then after the delivery, going back and trying to find a damn spot at the truck stop. It will be a lot easier to find a spot at the truck stop at 3-4 o'clock in the afternoon think I'm also going to be fairly close to Fontana. It's a little like trucker oasis in Southern California, from what I remember. There's a decent number of truck stops and stuff. Like deep into the LA area, it's really hard to find any kind of truck parking or anything. But once you get I flashed him over. I really like this guy. That was a safe merge distance. I like this guy. He's safe. That's a BMW sports car I've never seen before. That one in the left lane right now, going by the car hauler. Pretty nice looking car. So yeah, I can't really think of much of anything in North LA or LA itself or South LA, but east of LA in the Fontana area, that's kind of like a trucker oasis. Everywhere else around LA kind of sucks, but you know, like I said, I haven't been around here in like 15 years. Last time I was driving around in this area was I was driving for a really small company, and I mainly did hazardous waste. And the triangle that I ran was usually LA, and then somewhere in the Midwest, like Indianapolis. So the triangle or square was basically this: LA, and then like out Midwest. Sometimes it would be two stops. Like I'd go from LA to Texas, and then Texas to Indianapolis, and then like Indianapolis, and I would typically make my way back up to the Northwest, like Portland or Seattle, somewhere up there in the Northwest, and then from there down to the LA area, and then back out in that kind of like square or triangle. Sometimes I go straight from LA to, you know, Ohio, Indianapolis, and then, you know, back to the Northwest, and then it's basically Northwest, Southwest, Midwest, just in that kind of triangle. But it wasn't like the exact same places every time. But one of the things that really sucked about LA is when I say LA, I fucking mean LA. Right now, I'm going to LA, and I don't really mean LA. I'm going to San Bernardino. I'm going way east of LA. I'm not really going to be dealing with LA. I'm going to be dealing with San Bernardino, Montana, Redlands, way out east. Really nice area. 15 years ago, when I say LA, I fucking mean LA. I mean, I was down on the ports. I was like, man, I picked up at some really shithole places. Like down on the docks and ports. I don't know if it's Oceanside or what the hell the city name was, but I remember there was this massive bridge, this really tall bridge, this arch, this massive arching bridge that I had to drive across to get over to the port area. And then there were these really, really like 100-year-old brick buildings with these tiny ass docks that weren't designed for 53-foot trailers or 70-foot vehicles. They were designed for little pup trailers. Like, they were designed for box trucks. So they were a pain in the ass to get into. These old ass buildings. And you know, I'd pick up on the docks there. And basically what it was these buildings, they would get containers, unload the shit out of containers, and then load them into regular trucks, like regular dry van trucks. And you know, then I would go take it off places where you could park at the truck stop 2 miles down the road, and then when your delivery appointment pops up, you drive down there. No, there's no fucking place to park anywhere remotely close to it. So you have to drive through LA like 6, 7 a.m. to get to your delivery appointment at 8 a.m. It sucked ass. And then once you were loaded, there was no place nearby to park, so you had to drive out of LA during the day. And that really, really, really sucks. Because back then, I was a nighttime driver. Because traffic was so bad, I just drove at night all the time. And back then, because I was on paper logs, I could drive whenever the hell I wanted. I would just change my logs around to where I could drive at night. If I had to drive out of the city at 3 p.m. and it took me 4 hours to make it to a truck stop 30 miles away, then I didn't want to start driving till like 9 or 10 o'clock at night when the traffic died down, then I would take a nap, and then I would basically lie and say that I left the place at like 8:30 p.m. I would just use mile per hour average to manipulate my logs, and just say that I started my day later than I did, and recoup those lost hours driving in traffic, and then drive my full drive time starting at 9, 10 o'clock at night. You can do stuff like that on paper logs. I did make a point that if I ever drove by a weigh station or an inspection station of any kind, I made sure that my logs matched up with the time I drove past that, because I'm not sure exactly what kind of tracking, if any, they were doing at weigh stations, but it was always like assumed, and there were rumors that whenever you drive by weigh stations, they take pictures of your plates and they log, or maybe nowadays they have a lot of electronic tracking, so if you have pre-pass in your truck, they know exactly when you drove by that weigh station. They have all the information on your truck. But back then, there wasn't quite as much technology, so people weren't really sure exactly how much tracking was taking place, but it was always assumed that whenever you drove by a weigh station, they were able to track it. So I made sure all my logs matched up with that. But whenever you're driving around in LA, you're not driving through any damn weigh stations, so I would just lie like crazy on my logs. But yeah, the point, the topic of discussion is that I'm not really going into LA now. The route that this damn thing has had me take, I'm not sure if it's a really good route because it's having me take the 5 all the way in, and then I think I'm hopping on the 40 or something. I can't remember, but I'm taking the 5 right into deep LA, and then I'm switching over to something else instead of taking like the 205. And I'm not sure if that's a good thing to do. I'm not because there's a lockdown, I'm not really concerned, and I'm just going to stay on the route that Google says is the best, the fastest, because it's all interstate. But if there was not a lockdown currently, then I would have looked for bypasses. I would have been like, why in the hell is this thing not routing me on a bypass? Why the hell is this thing routing me through like downtown LA? But because there's a lockdown, I'm just going to roll with it, and I'll drive right through the middle of downtown. I'm not worried. With the lockdowns, a lot of times, dead center of town in these major cities is sometimes the easiest places to drive through, because the people where they live is out on the bypasses. And since they're all at home, they're still hopping on the bypasses to go grocery shopping and go, I don't know what all they're doing, but they're still getting out on the roads and driving around, but they're not going downtown to their jobs because they're either working from home or their businesses are closed downtown. So downtown traffic is typically lighter than the bypass traffic during the lockdown, from my experience. Sorry, I'm going over a teeny tiny hill. Had a bunch of cars pass me and I'm watching my speed. Also monitoring my fuel. The fuel situation is this. I don't know where I'm going out of LA or Fontana, San Bernardino, Redlands. I don't know where I'm going from there. You know, if there's a really amazing load that's picking up in Oceanside, then I may be driving back over to LA to pick up a load. I have no idea which direction I'm going out of San Bernardino. Ideally, I get a load picking up in the same area that I'm delivering, like San Bernardino, Fontana, Redlands. And hopefully I get a load picking up there, and hopefully it's going to my house or through my house where I can stop by. Now, I messaged my lawn guy and I was like, hey, I'm out of town and I'm not going to be able to make it back home for a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to be able to, I'm not going to be there to pay you when you know, he's going to mow this Friday, which is tomorrow. And I said, I can pay you when I get back. And he was like, oh, that's fine, we're good. Just pay me when you get back. Hope everything's all right. I mean, he's been my lawn guy for, I don't know, 2 or 3 years. Pay him in cash. So that's the thing that makes it a pain in the ass on paying him, is that I pay him in cash. Like if I was paying him on PayPal or through a website or whatever, no big damn deal. Just, you know, I can pay him anywhere, anytime. But paying him in cash is kind of a pain in the ass. It's one of the reasons I need to be at my house on a semi-regular basis is to pay him. But yeah, so I don't know which direction I'm going, but here's the fuel situation is fuel is really fucking expensive out here. So it's almost $4 a gallon. It's like $3.79 a gallon in a lot of places. I just kind of skimmed fuel prices to see if there was anywhere remotely cheap that I could get fuel. And even with my discounts, it's still over $3 a gallon. Pretty much everywhere in California. Just across the border in Arizona, Kingman, Arizona, is a huge fuel stop because it's not too far outside of California, and you don't have the California fuel prices, so that is, people typically just get enough fuel in California to get out of California, and then they fuel up in Kingman. So hopefully the route that I'm taking is going to take me through Kingman, Arizona, because Kingman, with my fuel discount, is like $2.05 a gallon, which is in the very reasonable price range. I think it's like $2.80 a gallon or $2.70 a gallon or $2.60, $2.50, somewhere between $2.50 and $2.80 a gallon. But I get a pretty big discount. It's like a 60-cent per gallon discount at the TA in Kingman. So there's a huge fucking difference between $3.30 a gallon and $2.05 a gallon. You know, $1 a gallon fuel difference is pretty huge when you're talking about 200 gallons. It's, you know, a couple $100 just vanishing. find a load today, and I hope that I don't have to set all weekend down here in California, because that's more fuel that I'm going to have to buy. But down here at the end of the week, in crunch time, Thursday, Friday, it's not going to be easy to find a load. And I'm a little concerned that I have not been able to find a load up to this point in the week. There have not been really any good loads. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't any loads, I'm just saying that there aren't any good loads. There are loads, really shitty loads. Like there's one going to Katy, Texas. I can't remember where Katy, Texas is at. Katy is most likely a suburb of a major city. Maybe Houston, maybe Dallas, I don't know. If it's a suburb of Dallas, then it's a shit-paying load, but Dallas is like 150 miles from my house, depending on which side of Dallas it is, because Dallas is a big fucking city. It could be between, 150 and 200 miles from my house. If Katy is on the south side of Dallas, then, it might be a couple hundred miles from my house. If it's on the north side of Dallas, it might be 125 miles from my house. I live in Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City to Dallas is not very far. But Katy is most likely Houston, which is a long damn way from my house. There are a lot of loads coming out of Houston that go near my house, so I could get to my house from Houston. Basically, the Katy, Texas load pays shit, but it can get me home really quick. When I say really quick, I mean within a week. Whereas if I go somewhere else, it may be a couple weeks before I get to my house. But there's a Katy, Texas load that's been sitting there all week. To give you an idea of the shit money that it pays, I think it pays something like $2,500, and it's like 1,400 miles. That's pretty terrible. It's like $1.20, $1.30 a mile or something. I don't know. You can figure it out. I only get 65% of the $2,500. So that's like a really terrible load. It's got to be on the east side of Texas if it's that many miles. So probably Houston. But that's one load that can get me really close to my house. But it pays crap. If I don't get a good paying load coming out of Southern California, then this last 2 weeks was a complete wash. Because this load pays nothing. The load before this, the Portland load, paid decent. It paid like average. But I was down for a week. Now, that week of downtime, that was due to a mechanical issue. That was a breakdown. And it really just kind of screwed me because I made the delivery on a Wednesday. They didn't have my truck fixed until late Friday afternoon, like 5, 6 p.m. or so. And you can't fucking find a load after 5 o'clock on Friday. There are pretty much no loads on the weekend on USA Trucks Load Board. So I was stuck all weekend waiting until Monday for a load to be posted on the load board. And on Monday, there weren't any good loads. On Tuesday, there weren't any good loads, but there was finally a load to get me to a good area. There was a load to get me to down here where I'm going, the San Bernardino load. Tuesday, that load was posted, and it picked up on Wednesday, delivered on Friday. So I'm in a position now where I'm delivering on Friday. I need a load that picks up on Friday. And those are few and far between. And if I don't get a load that picks up on Friday, I'm probably going to be stuck in the LA area until at least Monday. I might have to cost me per. So in a 24-hour period, I would guesstimate that I burn approximately 15 gallons of fuel. And it's going to cost me $3 per gallon. So $45, $50 a day fuel to set. So if I have to set until Tuesday, 4 fucking days, at $50 a day, it's going to cost me $200 just in fuel to set and wait on a load. If I had my APU, it wouldn't be anywhere near that bad, because the APU, this thing burns about 0.7 gallons per hour running the engine. The APU burns probably about a quarter of a gallon per hour. So it's about, instead of 15 gallons per day, it's probably 5 gallons per day, which would be basically cut everything by a third. So instead of $45, $50 a day, it's like $15 to $17 a day. It's a fairly significant difference. I need to get that damn APU fixed. I really want to get it fixed in Springfield. Because it's basically, the water pump's under warranty, and I'm pretty sure the water pump's out. The water pump cost me over $200. I can't remember exactly how much it cost. And by the way, the noise you're hearing is a way station. And there's a sign up here: scales closed, do not enter. So I got a message on my pre-pass that said pull in unless closed. And the pre-pass that USA Truck uses, I think pre-pass is a brand. DriveWise is what USA Truck uses. And DriveWise told me to pull in unless closed. So my phone is giving me an error message that it's getting warm, so I'm going to turn my defrost on and my air conditioner all the way up to max. Because the greenhouse effect inside here is really bad. Son of a bitch. Phone mount sucks, so I'm going to have to tilt it down a little bit to get it to stay in there. I need to buy a new phone mount. They're like $10 to $15 online, so I need to buy 2 or 3 of them. At the truck stop, they're like $30 or more. So I'm gonna buy them online, have them shipped to my house, and hopefully get to my house here pretty soon and be able to pick all that shit up. Gusty wind warning. I didn't catch that tire sign. I think I remember this area, this truck stop. No. Well, maybe they built up more shit in the last 15 years. I remember a truck stop out here on I-5 out in the middle of nowhere, and there was just kind of like this truck stop just kind of out here. I want to say it was a Flying J, though. It was just, there wasn't really much of anything else except the truck stop. It's a TA. $3.31 a gallon. You get it, big dog. You get on there. Arr, arr, arr. Letting the trucks on. In-N-Out Burger. Damn. Man, if I saw, oh my God, there's a huge truck parking lot right, well, no. There's like a river in between the truck stop and the In-N-Out Burger, so you'd have to walk a long way around. You'd have to go out to the road and then come back. But the truck stop was basically right across put in an In-N-Out burger. They just built their first In-N-Out burger in Reno. They had two first while I was there. Their very first Krispy Kreme, whenever Krispy Kreme came in, there were mile-long lines to the first Krispy Kreme restaurant. Mile-long lines to that place for the first couple of weeks. On opening day, I heard the line was over 5 miles long. That is insane. In-N-Out Burger, I don't think it was quite that bad whenever they opened up their first In-N-Out in Reno. But it was pretty nice. I went there. The frustrating thing with In-N-Out was that they only accepted cash. I was like, what the hell deals only in cash? Like, what kind of illegitimate business are you running here? You a bunch of drug dealers or something? So yeah, it was a pain in the ass. I think the first time I went there, I had to like leave the drive-thru and go to an ATM and come back. But I'm getting passed by a bunch of damn people. So got a whole bunch of people passing me. Trucks are passing me. I got a bunch of trucks bearing down on me pretty hard right now, going around me. And I'm catching up with somebody. This is the speed disparity I'm talking about with this 55 mile per hour speed limit in California that is loosely enforced these days. Used to be strictly enforced, but it appears to be loosely enforced these days. But I'm catching up. I'm going faster than the truck in front of me. I'm going 60 to 55, and I got this truck past me is doing like 62 or 63. And there's another truck behind me that's coming up on me. It's going to be passing me in a minute. I think the truck in front of me might have sped up. But I'm not catching up with him as fast as I was. Maybe he saw this JB Hunt passing me. He's like, I'm not going to have any of that shit. Aqueduct. I forgot. The road is so fucking bumpy. This mountain sucks so bad. My fucking phone keeps falling